Right, so lesson 5.6.1, research and development. These are the key things we're looking at today. To be honest, these last two lessons, it's just mostly content, which I'll go through the key points, but it's just you reading through the textbook and making sure you understand it. A lot of this is things we've already talked about in different contexts as well. First thing I want you to do is find definitions for those 6 key terms. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. So those were our definitions. So what do you need to do today? Okay, so this idea is basically about research and development. So what is the difference between research and development? Because they are two different things. Hopefully we've got that from our definitions. Research is about finding out, investigating. Development is changing, hopefully improving things. So they link to one another because good development is generally based on thorough research. So it's difficult to have one without the other, but they are different. For a lot of companies, research and development is really important. If you think about the most successful companies at the moment, the companies with the greatest market value, if we look at Apple and we look at Amazon and we look at Facebook and Alphabet and all those sorts of companies, they would have spent huge amounts of money in research and development. And then if you look at the more traditional companies, the manufacturing companies, whatever that being, the conglomerates such as Unilever and Procter and Gamble, for example, again, huge research and development budgets. Pharmaceutical companies will spend a fortune on research and development because if they come up with that new product, if they come up for that cure for cancer, for example, they will make an absolute fortune. In terms of companies that have missed out, well, one of the big ones, the most common one we've talked about is the idea of Kodak. Kodak were a big name in cameras and a big name in film. They actually, as far as I can remember, created digital photography, but they never thought it would be successful, so they didn't do anything with it. And then other firms did, and therefore they got overtaken and left behind. Think of Blockbusters. Blockbusters video rental came, big company, disappeared. Netflix started off by renting videos, but it changed. It used its research and development, find out what people wanted, and it changed its product, and now has become hugely successful in another way. If you look at the use of research and development in sunrise and sunset industries, obviously sunrise industries are almost all about research and development because they are new businesses, new companies, new ideas. They have to be cutting edge to be successful. Sunset industries, less so, unless they can come up with something new to move into, they will die out and probably not spending much on research and development. So if there are any companies out there still making Blu-ray players or DVDs, then they're not doing anything in terms of research and development on Blu-ray or DVDs. They might be looking for an alternative, but that's very much a sunset industry and it will soon be gone. What percentage of new ideas actually become a success? I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're talking a very small percentage of new ideas. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of products that are patented every day, week, month. Very few of them you will ever see. Okay. Now, obviously, there are limitations with research and development. It costs a lot of money, those high failure rates, and what is actually affordable within the business. You want to spend money on research and development because if you're successful, you can get large rewards at the end of it. But as with most things in business, it is a risk. There is no guarantee of success. There's no guarantee of money. At the end of it, you could spend millions and millions and millions on something new, and another company comes up with something similar a month before you, and you could be completely left behind. Or something else comes along and makes what you're doing absolutely obsolete. Okay? So one thing that's different about innovation is it can be used to meet customers' unmet needs. So we talk about market research, finding out about what people want. Sometimes innovation is about creating a new product that people don't know they want because they haven't thought of it yet, and that's what's so innovative about it. So just because something hasn't been shown as desirable in market research doesn't mean it cannot be successful. You don't know whether you want something or not until it's actually been invented, and that's where innovation can have a big impact. So where can innovation be seen? It doesn't have to be seen in an actual product. It might be seen in a productive process. So it might be a way of creating other things more efficiently and more cheaply. It might be in the successful exploitation of creative ideas. A lot of people are very creative, a lot of ideas, but it doesn't mean they can turn those ideas into reality. So you might be innovative in how you take those ideas and make them real. Obviously, the most common example is the introduction of new products. That's where we see something because it's very physical, so you can see what's going on. Or it can also be innovative in terms of entering new markets, new ways of using a product that already exists, or with different people. So what are our types of innovation? Okay, so types of innovation, we've got a different type of 4 Ps. We've got our 4 Ps of innovation. We've got product. So we can be innovative in the product itself. We can be innovative in the process of how a product is created. We can be innovative in the positioning of that product within the market, or we can be innovative in terms of a paradigm, which is an innovative change that is radical and changes the nature of certain markets. For example, a big example in recent years is budget airlines. So for a long time, airlines like Cathay and British Airways dominated. But now we've got a lot of budget airlines. Now that is a change in the market. There's a big shift in how the market has operated. It's not a completely new product. It's still traveling from A to B, but the way that works is different and innovative. The same with e-commerce. At the end of the day, e-commerce is just basically buying things, but the way we buy them, how we buy them is very different. Innovation can also be classified as incremental or radical. So incremental is small changes. Radical is massive changes. So incremental is step by step. Radical is a big leap, if you like. Think of Armstrong getting onto the moon. And creativity, as we said before with our definitions, creativity and innovation are linked because creativity is necessary for innovation. Creativity is the process of generating those new ideas. Now, they might not be always successful, but the creating ideas, the process of generating ideas is very important, and then deciding which one you're going to use and which ones you're going to try and be innovative with. And creativity can also be split into 2 categories. Adaptive, so that's adjusting or changing something that already exists. So that links very much into extension strategies on the product life cycle. Or it can be innovative, creating something new, something different. As it says there, questioning the status quo, completely changing the way things work, the way things operate. Okay, so that's our overview of research and development. Have a look at the end of the chapter on the QGIS section, complete some of the practice questions, look through the review questions. If you are happy with the content, you've got your notes, you're clear on the content, any other time you've got left in the lesson, spend it looking through the pre-release case study or on your IA.